All right. I'm annoyed that I'm doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway just because I shouldn't interact with the Horsemen at all. But it is what it is. This dude just won't stop in his evil. So I'm going to pause that so it's not continuously playing. All right. So let's talk about the Krasensteins, who are a pair of brothers who are just political activists that are just, they're nothing more than shills. They got famous off of Trump. They're Trump reply guys. Every time Trump would post it, they had some thing to post on there that was, critical of Trump. They are blind leftists. They don't actually pay attention to anything. They were on Tim Pool's show and made complete fools of themselves. They know next to nothing about geopolitics, but they act like they do. And they get a lot of attention, so I might as well address them. So let's talk about first what he does. So let's just read his post. Do you agree that all Democrats should resign because Bob Menendez was indicted? Trump, quote, Senate Democrats should all resign based on Senator Bob Menendez. They all knew what was going on and the way he lived, end quote. So, well, let's finish. Do you think that all Republicans should resign because Donald Trump was indicted? This notion is absurd to me. It amazes me how Republicans view an indictment when a Democrat is indicted versus when a Republican is indicted. Is this not pure hypocrisy? Well, let's take a look here, shall we? And the Democrats have indicted Trump on four different times, 91 counts. None of them are actual crimes that they allege. Some of them are, process crimes. They alleged RICO, except no criminal organization exists, so you really can't even do that. These are novel legal theories that they admit are novel in the way they're being presented. Alvin Bragg is literally using a federal statute to prosecute Trump at the state level when the federal prosecutor said, no, we're not going to pursue that. You have Jack Smith going after him for conspiracy against rights. That's not a crime. Just like the two impeachments of Trump, they alleged no actual crime. Whereas now, the Republicans are looking to impeach Biden. They're alleging actual crimes. They're alleging bribery, extortion, actual abuse of power. Like, they actually have a gripe here, whereas the Democrats' complaint was, we don't like Trump because he's orange. And so, the indictment against Menendez. So, again, when Trump said they all knew what was going on in the way he lived? Yeah, that's the thing, is everybody was kind of aware, and Menendez is not unique in any way. It's common for that kind of behavior in the Senate, with the Democrats in particular. Not to say that the GOP are not immune either. And I think everybody that's taking bribes ought to be resigned or prosecuted. The thing is, in the case of Menendez, we have an actual crime alleged. In the case of Trump, we don't. So why this isn't a valid comparison. So let's go down and see how he acts. So this poster here says, rare, Maggery, not sure. Your comparisons are so bad. You can't make a crime in Trump's indictment, but everyone in Washington did know Menendez and did nothing for years. Kind of like everyone in Hollywood that knew Harvey Weinstein was doing and just as guilty of covering his crimes. So this is Krasenstein's reply. There are plenty of alleged crimes in Trump's indictment, each and every one of them. Will you still say there's no crime if a jury convicts him? As I said, process crimes at best, not real crimes, not bribery, not extortion, crimes that were mentioned in the Constitution for impeaching someone and indicting a former president. Oh, and let's not forget that Barack Obama murdered an innocent 16-year-old American citizen who was accused of no crimes. Anwar al-Awlaki's son, yeah, it does count. Even though he's brown and he's got a funny-sounding name, it still counts. He was an American citizen. Obama murdered him without a charge, without due process, without a trial. That's a war crime. It's also just straight-up murder. So we could go after Obama, but no. Okay, so let's see. And then it does appear that there's a double standard when it comes to how some individuals react to indictments based on political affiliation. Consistency and fairness in evaluating such situations are indeed important, but this is just LOL. People have a confirmation bias that dictates the conclusion based on what they want it to be. Yeah, Ed, big time. Like how you have no idea about the coup in 2014 that started the current Russo-Ukraine war, but you act like you know things. You don't. So here Krasenstein admits that Bob Menendez should resign in disgrace. And I guarantee you Krasenstein is going to pitch the line, which is what the left is setting up with Menendez. This is why they went after him. They know about it for a long time. It's just that he was always towing the line. One thing Menendez did is he's going against Ukraine spending. But another thing is they are using him because they're going to go after Thomas and Alito. They're saying, oh, we all say that Menendez should resign, but that also means that Thomas and Alito should resign too. One standard for corruption, they're going to say. And this memo has already gone out. You can tell how Chatham House Rules works. And for those of you that don't know what Chatham House Rules are, it is when you go to a private meeting, they all, they have information that is spread during that meeting, and you're allowed to say what you heard in the meeting. You're just not allowed to tell anyone that you got it from that meeting or whom you got it from. That's the Chatham House Rules. So here we go. And here he makes a reasonable comment. And this is what they do. They make a bunch of irrational statements that are entirely nonsensical. And then they come out with something that people will agree with. I personally don't think lawmakers should be allowed to trade stocks. Nobody does. Absolutely everybody's opposed to this. But of course, all of our corrupt congressmen, they're not going to stop doing it because that's how they get rich. Okay, so let's see. Amazes me that people support someone who is far out in the wilderness. That being said, he's no farther out in right field than Biden is in left field. We need new leaders. I would disagree, but I would love to see younger candidates. Again, because he loves Biden, so he has no interest in going against him. So it just kind of shows how disingenuous they are, because these aren't valid comparisons. You're going to sit there and say, oh, it's okay for us to make things up about Trump, but when somebody's accused of an actual crime, you need to acknowledge that what are made up stuff about Trump should also mean that Trump should suffer. No, it doesn't work that way. Psycho.